Alright everybody, welcome to the Demon's Tea Room. Let everybody get a chance to come in, grab a table, come in and have a seat. There is Cassandra, welcome. Start the war clock. There we go. There's Daniel, my brother Daniel. Rachel. What's up, Casey? There's Lisa. There's my sister Tiffany. What's up, Tina? How you doing? Stella, welcome, guys. Give everybody a chance to come in and grab a seat. Lay your weapons on the table. There's my fellow tour guide and my sister Charmaine. Good, sound is sounding good. I decided to not use the porta mic because I think it's the wind that's causing that, along with using the gimbal. So we decided not to do that. My brother Kyle, much respect. Wasteland love. Yeah, I started to miss my Wasteland gear, so I decided to crank up the full armor today. Welcome to the panic room. Now, if it was the panic room, brother, I'd have the AR right here. It's in the house. I did, however, bring our Wasteland parting gifts for anybody who gets too close. Little push and throw. What's up, everybody? Welcome, guys. Welcome to the Demon's Tea Room. What's today? Thursday? Yeah, it's our Thursday. Our throwback Thursday. It's my sister Mish. My old brother Ford. Welcome, brother. Welcome. My brother Brian. Welcome, guys. Welcome. All right, y'all. So today we might go just a little bit longer today because there's a couple of subjects I want to hit in today. Now, I will warn you, even during tours, when I do the Ursuline Convent story, I move around a lot in pace. So, just a thing. Sorry. And the 18-wheelers can make all the noise they want to as long as they keep that stuff going. Yeah, Daniel, I dressed up for you guys. I put on my best for y'all. So, for some of our new people that are coming in and sitting down, who are hopefully will see this down the line on YouTube, welcome to the Demon's Tea Room. Not your grandmother's cup of tea. My name is Cedric. I'm going to be your host this afternoon in the Tea Room. I am the founding member and lead investigator of New Orleans Paranormal Explorers, the NOPE team. I'm also a tour guide here in the city of New Orleans with Haunted History Tours. And my get-up and my gear you see, I also happen to be one of the lead officers for Crew to Carnage, which is a post-apocalyptic unit that we do post-apocalyptic events around the country when the real apocalypse isn't happening. That's how I figured it out. It was perfect. So, today a couple of things. Number one, I want to give a huge shout-out to Teresa, the better half of Daniel, because today is her birthday. Happy birthday, sweetheart. Much love and affection from down here in NOLA. So, church! There's long stories about the Wasteland. What happens in the Wasteland stays in the Wasteland. So before we get into the Ursuline Convent, the start of some of the vampire lore and legends here in New Orleans, I want to start off by doing something because I saw something on the internet and it hit something with me, so I wanted to get a little personal with you guys. Now, I can't speak for the nurses and the doctors and those cats that are out on the front lines medically keeping us going. What I can talk on, and I just want to point it out for some of you guys out there, it's something not a lot of people think about it. And so in order to get my point across, we're going to go a little personal. And it's not something I talk a whole lot about. Some of my close friends know about it, but I spent 17 years as a firefighter medic, both paid and volunteer. in multiple different locations, mostly in the Houston area, and then just outside of Austin as a full-time paid firefighter paramedic. And I want you guys to understand something. When you see these guys and gals out there on the front lines who are our first line of defense in this pandemic, I want you to understand what you're looking at. And like I said, I'm going to talk a little personal here. Because when you look at those guys and gals out there, paramedics, the firefighters, and the police officers, I want you to understand that most of those guys and gals are working 3 jobs. Because one of the reasons that I left is because I burned out. And politics got bad. It's a reason I quit the fire department and I never went back. But in order to make a living doing that job, 95% of those guys and gals out there are working 2 to 3 different shifts to different departments to make ends meet. Because they don't get paid for shit. To give you an idea, I had 17 years on the street as a medic and a firefighter. And as a medic, people working at McDonald's were making more money than I was an hour. People want to argue that with me on a regular basis? Go look up the numbers. There's a reason that most of us worked 3 jobs trying to make ends meet and pay our bills. And what I mean by working 3 jobs is you'd work a 24-hour shift, get off that shift, go to your next station, work another 24-hour shift. Because most departments are 24 48s. You work a 24-hour shift, you got 48 hours off. So you fill that with working more shifts. And when you do that, you burn out real quick because you see shit and you see crap. Now, some of the smart ones out there have done what my brother Ghost did, and they go back to school and they do the bridge from paramedic over to RN, where they can make a halfway decent amount of money, as well as have a semi not crazy schedule. So, when you see those medics out there, and you see those firefighters and those cops out there, even at a distance, walking into Walmart, seeing them on the street, seeing them in the grocery store, tell them thank you. Because in the dark, cold recesses of the night, when you call for help, that's who's coming. And I'll tell you, 100% accuracy, every single one of them out there will go through hell, fire, ice, rain, with no sleep to make sure at the end of the day, they're going to do everything they can to make sure you go home. So, tell them thank you. Because from a medic's point of view, that one person saying, hey, thank you guys for being here. Thank you. That means the world to us. So remember that when you're out there, guys. And in what we're going through now, tell them thank you. And while you're at it, tell those Walmart workers, the Walgreens workers, the grocery store workers, the people who are delivering your food, tip them a little bit extra. Tell them thank you. Because now, being a tour guide, I also know what it feels like to live paycheck to paycheck and how to survive on your tips. And right now, it means a whole lot more for you to slip a little bit more to those people delivering your stuff. Because now, they're facing what could be a life-altering sickness to make sure we get our stuff. So say thank you to them. It'll mean the world to them. Slip them a little bit extra. Plus, it's hella good karma. And I know most of you guys on here, we can use all the good karma we can get our hands on. So, let's jump over to the Ursuline Convent. Now, keep in mind, y'all, as we go through the Ursuline Convent today, this is my telling of the story, all right? And this story is going to be mixed in with historical fact as well as legend. Now, the Ursuline Convent, there in the French Quarter at the corner of Ursuline and Charters. Do me a favor, honey. Will you go keep him from talking to his buddies next door? Ryder's running up and down the fence playing with his friends. So it's at the corner of Ursuline and Charters. Now, before we get off into this story, keep in mind, here in the city of New Orleans, at our inception as a city, we were the closest thing to a penal colony you could get outside of Australia. All right? We were mostly hardened criminals, and at that point, about 95 to 98% male. Now, if you do the math in that, you ain't going to have anybody making babies, which means you're not going to get a colony to grow into a city. So, city fathers had a problem, because the reason it was close to being like a penal colony is when the original settlers and colonists came over with a gentleman by the name of Johnny Law. I'm not making that up. That was his name. Johnny Law. They realized rather rapidly that what they had been told was a big old bag of poop, because there are no veins of silver running in these streets. There's no gold in them there hills. And if you've been down here to southern Louisiana, we ain't got a whole lot of hills. And he also chose to leave out some of the more potent things that we love about living in southern Louisiana. Stuff like hurricanes, the temperatures, mosquitoes, alligators, yellow fever, all of those things that we get and love about living in southern Louisiana. He left all that out. So, when it was time to get other colonists to come over, they was having no part of that. So, the first thing that the city fathers tried, along with the court over in France, was they walked into the Bastille. Said, all right, y'all, give you guys a deal. Spend the rest of your life in the Bastille, or go down and go to the new colony. What are you going to say? Deuces, I'm out. Put me on a boat. So, needless to say, the original colonists that came over in waves were not the most upstanding individuals on the face of the planet, which made this a very, very tough city to live in, and deadly. So, we're still at our issue of ain't nobody making babies. So, they came up with another idea. City fathers went to the Ursuline nuns who had established the convent there and asked them if they would establish a girls' school so that young aristocratic ladies could be brought over from France, trained, and married off to the French aristocrats here in the city, keeping in mind what the marriageable age of a young lady was in 1720s France, 12 to 14. Now, this is about 1729 when the call went out for girls for the Ursuline school. So, families over in France got their daughters all packed up on a boat, off they go. Now, these young ladies were known as the casket girls. Now, it's not a casket, but a casket. And what you're talking about in the vernacular of the time period is a box, and you guys can't really see it because of the screen, but a box about yay big, about yay wide, about yay deep. Think of it like a steamer trunk or a check bag that we would have today. Now, these girls spent 6 months on the boat coming over from Europe, stopped in Mobile, Alabama. Half of them got off in Mobile. The other half came into New Orleans. Ship docks there at the port, and these young ladies are escorted off the boat under the cover of darkness. That in and of itself, not nefarious. Keeping in mind, you have a population that is about 95% male, hadn't seen a female in about 3 years. I'd bring them off under the cover of darkness as well, and probably armed guard. But where the story starts to get interesting is that a lot of the locals that lived right around the Ursuline Convent noted in their journals how they found it peculiar that as these caskets are being lifted off the ship and placed on wagons, and those wagons are making their way down the fine roads we have here in the city of New Orleans, even today, that they noticed that there was dirt falling out of these caskets. So, during my tours, I usually find some poor soul in the front row And I usually ask him, so riddle me this, Batman. You're leaving France. You are never, ever going home again. Everything you own has to fit in that casket. Why would you bring dirt? Now, keep in mind, guys, that every culture out there, no matter what culture you're talking about, Native American, European, Haitian, West African, Central, South American, every culture out there has vampiric lore and legends in their cultural histories and stories for a reason. Now, what we're talking about here are the Segoi. These are old school European vampires. Legend has it that in order for a Segoi to move across a moving body of water, they have to be moved in the earth in which they were made. Now, these aren't the two-fanged, bite you on the neck, sexy-chested, we love Lestat kind of vampires. These are shark-toothed, black-eyed monsters. And the way they hunt is they grab their prey, pull them back, pull their head back like a Pez dispenser, rip their throat out, drink them dry, and chunk the carcasses away. Now, I can hear some of you thinking it even across the ways. Come on, Cedric, dude. Are you going to stand there and tell us that you honestly believe that there are vampires that hunt on the city streets in New Orleans to this very day? You're damn right I am. And this is why. From 1729 to just a few weeks ago, we get bodies washing up in the Mississippi, shoved in a dumpster, or shoved in the bushes with their throats ripped out and over 80% of their blood volume missing. Now, for half a second, I'm going to take the switch from storyteller to a guide and click it back to paramedic for half a second. And I'm going to stand here as a medical professional and tell you that it is physically impossible for a human body on its own to bleed out more than 60% of its blood volume. And what do I mean by that? So, if I was to walk up to a person on the street, cut their throat right across the carotid, they fall head down in the gutter, they're only going to bleed out on their own 60% of their blood volume. Because by 60%, human heart stops beating, blood stops flowing. To get any more than that, it has to be manually removed. All of these victims have had over 80% of their blood volume. Now, I can also hear some of you saying, come on, dude. If you had something like that hunting in the city of New Orleans for almost 300 years, we'd have heard about it around the country, around the world even. Fair. So riddle me this. You sitting right there are the city of New Orleans. You over there are the Archdiocese of New Orleans. Your entire economic base relies on one thing. Tourists. You gonna let it out you got something been hunting on these streets for 300 years? I think not. Now, a lot of times I can hear people, I can see it in people's eyes, and I can hear you guys coming across the ways that you still don't believe. All right. Challenge accepted. We're going to jump ahead to 1978. 1978, Halloween, October. Two reporters from the Times-Picayune newspaper want to get into the third floor of the Ursuline Convent, where legend has it that these caskets were taken off the ship, taken up to the third floor of the Ursuline Convent, and secured on the third floor. We have historical documentation that shows that the Ursuline nuns commissioned over 1,000 feet of chain and over 600 nails to be blessed by the Archbishop of the city of New Orleans to secure the third floor. Now, these reporters wanted to go into the third floor. They wanted to do a report for Halloween on the vampire lore and legends here in the city of New Orleans. And much like today, back then, it was a museum. And they were told a resounding no. To my brother Toast, a resounding no. Nobody's allowed onto the third floor of the Ursuline Convent. They pushed and they pushed and they pushed, and they were told, if you do not leave, we will call law enforcement. Cool. No harm, no foul. So they were going to do the next best thing. They were going to set up right across the street at the Beauregard Kai's house, and they were going to sit up vigil all night long and watch to see if it was true, if any of those windows opened, if the vampires came out and were hunting. So the next morning, the docents come in, they go in to open up the museum, don't see anything out of the ordinary, and they start setting up for the day. Then they hear a scream. So they run out of the convent, out to the wall, which is right out there on Charters, and they look down to the left. Now, for you guys that have not had a chance to come down here with us, Ursuline Convent, building here, L-shaped building. The L-shaped building is St. Mary's Church. They run out, they look down to the right, and they see what looks like a group starting to form around the front of the church. So they go down, they look, and that's where they find the two reporters strung up in the doorway, totally, completely exsanguinated. Not a single drop of blood on the doors, not a single drop of blood across the street at the Beauregard Kai's house where they found their equipment smashed. So, let's jump ahead a little bit closer, get it a little bit more real for you. About 6 months ago, had a very good friend of mine who will remain nameless at this point. Wanted to be here his entire life. Came down here from Manhattan, from New York. Wanted to be a bartender here, and he got his dream. He was a bartender there at Napoleon House in the Quarter. Now, let me describe this individual to you. 6'3", 6'4", long blonde hair, full sleeve tattoos, rides a Harley everywhere he goes kind of guy. Does not believe in the paranormal for any reason. If you walked up to him and said, dude, ghost just walked up, slapped me across the face, he's going to tell you, lay off the crack pipe, it's starting to go to your brain. Does not believe in the paranormal for any reason. So, about 6 months ago or so, I get a phone call, about 3:30, 3:40 in the morning. Cedric, I need you in the Quarter, and I need you here now. You guys know the bro code. You call, I haul. 7 minutes later, I'm in the corner. And I find him 3 blocks away from Napoleon House, sitting on the sidewalk in a fetal position, rocking back and forth, sweating bullets. My first thought is, great, I've got a body to get rid of. Dude, what the hell? What happened? He's like, all right, look, I'm going to tell you the story, and if it hadn't happened to me, I'd call you a bald-faced liar. You know me. All right, dude, what happened? I'm still thinking he got robbed. He's like, look, I was shutting the bar down, had all the doors closed and locked except for one. It was closed, but it was not locked. I'd gone in the back, I'd pulled my till, was counting out my till to get ready to shut the bar down for the night. I said, all right. He's like, but that's when I started hearing something out in the front room. It sounded like glass bottles hitting together or glasses tinking together. So I walked in just to check to see if somebody had come in. I said, all right, what, is that when you got robbed? He's like, shut up and let me tell you. I was like, all right, go. It's like what I saw looked like 12-year-old to 13-year-old little girl standing on the bar with her back to me, dancing in and amongst the bottles. I said, all right, what did you do? He's like, dude, I did what any bartender is going to do, be it New York or New Orleans. Yo, kid, you want to get the hell off my bar? You're going to get me in trouble. All right, what happened? He's like, Cedric, I don't know what the hell that was. That wasn't a little girl. She turned around, jet black eyes, mouthful of shark teeth, took a single step off that bar like it was nothing and started walking toward me. It's like, what the hell did you do? He's like, dude, I know a predator when I see a predator. I kept eye contact with it. I backed out the door. I'm not going back. He moved out of the city less than 6 hours later, refuses to come back to the city of New Orleans. Now, we have access to 3 sworn affidavits. And I know these are accurate because I was lucky enough in giving one of my vampire tours to have a 4th who gave me his story. But we have 3 affidavits from military police officers who were assigned to the city of New Orleans in the aftermath of Katrina to rescue operations. And in these affidavits, they talk about how they received direct orders from their chain of command that they were to load up, convoy out to the airport, pick up a flight coming into Louis Armstrong Airport, escort them back to the Ursuline Convent, make sure that they were unimpeded in doing their investigation, then load them back up, get them back to the airport, and make sure they fly out. We also have in our possession the manifest for that flight from that day. Its point of origin, Italy, the Vatican. It was full of high-ranking nuns and archbishops coming from the Vatican to do an inspection of the Ursuline Convent. So, you intelligent individuals out there, you want to tell me what is so hellfire important on the 3rd floor of the Ursuline Convent? That not only does the United States military pull rescue workers and first responders off of those operations, when we still had the city infrastructure collapsing, we still had people on roofs, and that the Vatican is going to send in some of their highest ranking officials into a disaster zone to do an investigation on a building that every tour company in the city stops at to talk about the legends and lores of the vampires here in the city of New Orleans. But I'll give you guys the 3 pieces of advice that I give to every single tourist on my tours when standing in front of the Ursuline Convent, or every time I tell this story. These are what I was given, and Evie, when we moved here over 10 years ago. My gift to you. Take it or leave it. Number 1, while you're here, the center areas that separate streets where you guys are at, you call them medians. Here, we call that the neutral ground. The neutral ground separates one neighborhood from another. If that's not your neighborhood on the other side, don't go over there if you don't have a reason to be there. Number 2, when you guys get a chance, you come down, you come visit with us, and you're walking around the French Quarter. Don't walk around that quarter with your head in your cell phone and not paying attention to what's going on around you. Never, ever forget what city you're in. Today, the city of New Orleans is one of the missing person capitals of the United States for a reason. And number 3, and they were dead serious, and so am I. If you happen to be walking by the Ursuline Convent at the corner of Ursuline and Charters, and you look up and you see any one of those windows, the 3rd floor dormer windows, open, don't be there, because you won't find a local for any direction for at least 3 blocks. Because if those windows are open, it means the vampires are out hunting, and we're not going to risk it. Now, do I think the casket girls themselves were the vampires? Not all of them. Keep in mind, y'all, 6 months is a long time to be on a ship. But let's put each of you guys in the position of a 1720s aristocratic family in Europe. And let's say, for discussion's sake, you've been watching and taking care of an entity, a creature, whatever you want to call them, for centuries, generations have gone through your family watching and taking care of this entity. Now, let's also think about what's going on in Europe at this time period, because the witch hunts had stopped. The vampire craze and vampire hunts had started. So, you have an entity that you've been watching for generation after generation after generation. Now they're in danger. Where is the best place to send them where they'll be safe, and there's hardly no chance at all that anybody's going to find out about it? The New World, maybe? So, keeping in mind, y'all, the Ursuline Convent, the building itself, is the oldest building in the Mississippi River Valley. It's been rebuilt multiple times, survived both the fires of 1788 and then again in 1794. And I get people all the time, Why would the Catholic Church protect vampires? Tell you what, next time you see a Catholic priest or a nun or a high-ranking Catholic, and I'm not talking about the parishioners of believers, I'm talking about the upper crust of the church. Ask them sometime what's in the catacombs underneath the Vatican and see what kind of answer you get. Catholic Church for centuries has been hiding and in their minds protecting us from those dark things that go bump in the night. So, is it a huge leap of faith to think that there might be something on the third floor of the Ursuline Convent that they would really like not to get out? Because like I said, y'all, there are things that go bump in the night on the city streets of New Orleans that aren't the drunk visitors or the creepy locals. There's things that feed. And like I said at the starting of this, am I going to stand here and tell you that I very much truly believe that there are things that go bump and hunt on the city streets of New Orleans to this very day? You're damn right I am. So one night after we first moved here, my lovely wife and I were walking into the quarter. Our very first shop was in the Bywater, so we could walk into the quarter. And most of you guys know, every time I go out, I have my cane. And as we're walking, I'm hitting my cane on the metal street covers as we walk. Get about a block into the quarter, and I hit one of those metal grates. Now something hit back from underneath. That's curious. Walk a little bit more, hit my cane again. Same thing. A reply, and it's moving with us. So I was like, hey honey, check this out. Stopped. Hit my cane 4 times. Evie and I are like, okay, maybe we don't want to be standing here anymore. And as we kept walking, we get further down the street. Without me even hitting my cane, at each metal cover, something's hitting. So, what it was, I never put eyes on it, so I don't honestly know. I know what I believe. I also have multiple stories of the people, how did they say it? The underground people that are here in New Orleans, that hide out in our storm drains and the sewer areas. There's multiple stories throughout history here in New Orleans. A lot of them are talked about and whispered in hushed kind of tones because people really don't want to know what stalks the underground around here. Hell, for that matter, block right up the road, right up here, you go underneath the street, storm drain, goes underneath the road, doesn't come out on the other side, goes off, splits off. Don't ask how I know that. I'm not going to tell you. But there are underground storm drains around here to get the water out. So it's not a huge leap to think that there might be stuff living down there. And we're not just talking about the urban legends of the gators. They're down there too. So that is where the legends and lore started of vampiric entities here in the city of New Orleans. And multiple locals and natives believe it. Somebody you might have heard of by the name of Anne Rice believed it real hardcore. She ended up writing some books you guys might have heard of down the line. And those books are based on the legends and lore here in the city of New Orleans. So guys, kept you a little bit longer today. I truly hope you enjoyed the legends of the Ursuline Convent and some of our vampires stories here in the city. As always, y'all, this will get posted up on YouTube in the next little while. They can't stop the signal. You guys are my biggest weapon. Boost that signal. Get it out there. Let people know about it. Hit that like button, even on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoy what we do here in the Demon's Tea Room. Hit that little bell icon there on YouTube. Let you know when we're posting new episodes. If you find it in your heart to donate to the cause, there are links embedded in those videos for donating to the Demons Tea Room to help keep us going through these trying times. Also, not a whole lot's changed here in the city as far as the pandemic is concerned. The numbers are starting to skyrocket today. So my lovely wife just informed me, because I told you guys I'm not going to give you guys numbers. It's exploding here, so it's about to get sporting. But we'll try and keep you guys up to speed on how things change. Other than that, we're holding down. The Victory Garden is getting ready to come into fruition. We're getting ready to plant as soon as I'm done talking to you guys. And other than that, y'all, hack the planet. Get this out there. In the comments, more stories you guys want to hear about, stuff you want to hear us talk about here in the Demons Tea Room. So, I will see you guys tomorrow. Same demon time, same demon channel. Here in the Demons Tea Room, not your grandmother's cup of tea. So be careful out there, y'all. Be safe. Be healthy. See you guys tomorrow in the Demons Tea Room. As always, mad respect and love to everybody out there. Peace out, fam. Stay safe. And I'll see you guys on the flip side.